Hello, everyone. I'm Rania Patrice coming to you with our very last episode of Women on the Front Lines, March for Science's show highlighting badass women doing incredible work all across the country. We talk about science being at the intersection of all social movements because it both explains the challenges we're facing as well as informs solutions and paths to progress, which is what we're all about here, is progress and getting stuff done. So today we're addressing an epidemic in this country that has been left unaddressed for far too long. We've talked about it here before, and that is gun violence. And our very, very special guest today is Patricia Oliver, the mother of Joaquin Oliver and co-founder of the amazing organization we're partnering with on this imperative issue, Change the Ref. And my dear friend, welcome, Patty.
Hi, Rania. Thank you for having me here. I am so glad that you joined this organization. It's great. And we as a Change the Ref, we are so happy to be able to help others with this fight. Well, as you mentioned it, I am Joaquin's mom. I lost Joaquin at the Parkland shooting on February 14th, 2018. Since then, we created our organization, Change the Ref, that refers basically to change the referee, which means that Joaquin used to play basketball. That was his passion, play basketball, and he was complaining here and there sometimes after the games that the referee was calling, wrong calls when he seems to be that he was, more pro for the other team than his team. So after what happened and putting things together, trying to do something because we are the ones that know, believe that that's just happened to us and just pass the page and let's live with our pain, we decided to create our organization. And that regards of Joaquin's thoughts about him playing basketball. So we think that it applies really well for what's going on here in the country. We've been seeing that a lot of politicians and a lot of people that is involved with taking certain um, approaches or decisions in their own side. We are just here to make them listen what we believe that it has to be done, what is common sense. And ever since then, we've been just fighting against all these crazy gun reforms or laws that we have already that nobody wants to listen.
Yeah, and so change the ref. It's changing the referee. So who's calling the game? So those are the politicians who are not representing public health and the interests of the public, but the lobbyists and the special interests. For example, the NRA. So that's the ref we need to change, and Change the Ref is doing such amazing work and has been since you lost precious Joaquin. And one of the things you have coming up is on August 4th. So I'd love for you to tell our audience a little bit about that very special event that's coming up on August 4th.
Yeah, August 4th, it will be Joaquin's 21st birthday. So we decided to celebrate Joaquin's birthday with an event that we call Wakathon. So we did it last year. We lasted 20 hours because they were his 20 years. This year is very important as well because he's turning 21. So we decided to celebrate his birthday in a positive and happy way because we don't want Joaquin to be remembered just for what happened to him. Joaquin has a life, has a personality, has a way to be, to see things, to think, to feel. And we want to share with all of you that guy. That is the real Joaquin. And Joaquin is a fighter, and Joaquin is a defender. And that day, August 4th, will be 21 hours where we're going to be spending quality time, remember the good memories, and having interviews and having people know that we are here, that we have a purpose, that we have a passion for all of us to be in a better place.
Absolutely. It's going to be so much fun. Last year was amazing. This year is also going to be amazing. And you can get information at changetheref.org about that information, about that wonderful event. It's going to be so much fun. And Joaquin himself was an activist. He was an advocate. He was so outspoken. So it's perfect that we're getting to celebrate him in this way and remind people of that. And that kind of leads me to the next thing is some of our folks know that March for Science is a global organization, but it's based in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
And many people have probably seen that the governor of Texas, his name is Greg Abbott, if you didn't know. He's very problematic, if we're putting it nicely. And he's just done some really, really atrocious, horrible things that it puts Texans and the rest of the country at risk, including one of the most recent things he did in this past legislature, which is shepherd this bill through the legislature that allows people in Texas to open carry guns without a license. So no license, no storage requirements, no background checks, of course, no safety courses. It's like the Wild West out here, unfortunately. And all of this, as gun violence in this country just continues to soar. It's so terrible. We're seeing it every single day within communities, and it's not just mass shootings, it's community shootings as well. And now it's just making it even easier to open carry. And we see poll after poll and people saying, including law enforcement, saying they're very opposed to this. And so this is just the latest atrocity coming out of the NRA, a lobby which you, Patty, have been fighting against since Joaquin was killed. So I would just love for you to talk a little bit about how do we take on this ridiculous special interest who are more concerned about their profits than the safety of communities.
Well, you use a very nice word to refer to your governor because he's terrible. He's really terrible. Mm-hmm. He just passed this House bill, the 1927, passed last month. That is the craziest one. He was talking about that, and now are affecting the whole Texans because this is something that is really, really, really heavy to digest.
Yeah, and not just Texans. I mean, somebody can get guns here and go to other states. We've seen it.
No, of course. The guns travels. The guns go everywhere. But this guy is making this freedom that they call that freedom, mm-hmm. because they say that because the Second Amendment has to be defended that way, and they feel very proud. And he's really aligned with the NRA, which is the worst. And I just seen that if you have a population of 5 million students going to school every day, what about those parents? You, as a community that you belong, you should fight, you should raise your voice, because if you have so many people behind that is not supporting this bill, there is something that we should do. So if we have to go there and march, we should go there and march. We have to raise our voices. We cannot be quiet. I really advise all Texans, because we have to start from somewhere. So it has to be from Texas, on my view, to start making a movement, raising our voice through your organization, through our organization. Every organization should join this awful decision, because it's terrific.
Yeah, terrible. And again, it just puts people's lives at risk, and he just doesn't even seem to care. And so this is the perfect segue. The name Change the Ref. We're talking about changing the people who are making the decisions and not calling a fair game. So the ref here is Greg Abbott, who is more beholden to the NRA leadership and the gun lobby than he is to the people of Texas and this country. And so, he's not calling a fair game. So what do we do about this, Patty? How do we get him out?
Well, I think that the only way that we can start, we need a start point, is to educate and to really understand and explain what the Second Amendment is. Because these guys from the NRA or anyone that is aligned to this organization, they transform the really meaning of the Second Amendment. Because the Second Amendment and the NRA are the same age. They came from the same century, so the 1800s. And that was created because it was a specific reason in that moment. So today we are living in the 21st century, so we need to adapt our situation to today. So we are not in war, we don't need that because we are supposed to be in a freedom, safety country without guns. Of course, we need the guns, but we don't need the guns the way they are promoting to have it, because
Yeah,
that
I mean,
is
and
monetizing the
mhm.
need of the guns, which is
And
not
You and Manuel talk about this all the time. It's not about taking away every single gun, but common sense. The vast majority of this country supports universal background checks. The vast majority of this country, including gun owners, support safety courses and making sure that guns are stored safely and all of those kinds of things. And so, it is truly about common sense. And when you have a governor like Greg Abbott, and of course he's not the only one, we're just talking about him because March for Science is based in Texas.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
But when you have a governor that's just ignoring the will of the people, what people want, and the safety of their own constituents, it's a problem. So that's why March for Science and Change the Ref are partnering with Level Field to really take on the gun violence epidemic. It is a public health issue, which is why we're talking about it here at March for Science also. And we're inviting activists and advocates and people who just care about the community to not only call out Governor Abbott, but also take him on directly. And we're going to do this by you can make a donation. Advocates and allies can hold Governor Abbott accountable for this truly dangerous law that he is responsible for. And we're taking on the corrupting influence of the NRA and the gun lobby. And again, it's a public health crisis that we are hearing about way too often. And it's happening every single day in our communities. And so Izzy, who is our amazing back-end production person, is going to drop the link into the chat. And I'm here to tell you, every dollar we raise will go to these efforts by March for Science and Change the Ref to take on this corrupting influence and these folks and these organizations and these people like Greg Abbott who are just ignoring public safety, and every single dollar helps. So, Patricia, we're demanding common sense and responsibility from our elected officials. It's not everything, but it's a start. So what any final parting words of inspiration to people who are watching on how to get involved and what they can do to help make a difference?
Well, I recommend you guys. I'm a mom, I'm a woman, I'm a part of a community, I'm a part of a society, I'm a part of this country. I invite you that every one of us should do something, because this is a teamwork. This is a social issue that is attacking every one of us. We are talking about Texas because this is the governor of Texas, but this is something that is happening all around the country in more or less percentage, but it's happening, and it's happening, and it's getting worse. It is sad to say that, because I've been enjoying this fight for the last 3 years, and sadly I've been seeing the increment of the gun violence. Mm-hmm. So please do not give up. It could be frustrated that you don't see the results right away, because between the pandemic last year, the misunderstanding that you have to be more armed because you don't know what's going to happen, that it was a misinformation, really bad misinformation. But we need to use the common sense for every single one of your people, your family, your kids. We need to move as a teamwork. We need to go out, sign anything that it will be able to let us take this Mr. Abbott away from his place. We need that, but we need to work together. That's my advice.
Absolutely.
We need to do
Absolutely.
anything, any kind of activation will be adding up a positive thing to be able to remove this guy from his place.
Absolutely. And I can't thank you enough for spending time with us today and for everything you and Manuel are doing to help protect other people's children and loved ones. And to everyone out there tuning in, remember, we all have a part to play in this work. And please check out the link. Izzy's going to drop it again into the chat. It's going to take all of us. So thank you again. We hope you'll join us in this fight for common sense gun reform. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to know that people like Greg Abbott are a danger to public safety, and we can't sit on the sidelines. So Thank you so much again. Thank you, Patricia, for joining us, and everyone for tuning in.
Thank you so much, Rania, for having me. Thank you, everybody.